Hello, in this video, I'm going to show you the 3 things that we cover in class during week 1 of our summer class. That is to use the calculator to create or use the calculator to help us to create a frequency distribution from quantitative data and graph some quantitative data as a histogram, and thirdly, how to graph scatter plot. Okay, so number 1 is if we have some data, I think we did this example in class that we can, if we have some data, we'll set up our classes and then we want to tally it and write down the frequency. So the calculator cannot help us to do tallying. They can help us to sort data, and after we sort it, we can tally a little faster. So that's what I'm going to show you. Basically, to help to do a frequency distribution from raw data, you have to do the classes by hand. The graphing calculator can help you sort the data so you can count a little faster or you can tally a little faster. So how do you enter data into it? That's what I think I cover in another video. So we basically do stat, edit. So by default, it should be edit. And then you press enter to select edit. If there is any data in L1, you go to the head of L1, clear, press enter, clear, and press enter, and everything in L1 would be clear, and you're ready to enter. So in our case, we want to enter this, 89, press enter, 70, 67, 78, 85. You see how they are not in order, right? 94, 92, 99, 57. I think 57 is the smallest number, but it's right in the middle. 85, 83, so 71. So if we are to do tallying by hand, you just go through the list one by one and then put them in whatever bucket that it belongs to. But the calculator, if you enter your data in the calculator can sort it so you can tally a little faster. So you could do stat again. The data is automatically saved, so you would just do stat and then you do sort A. Cursor down to number 2 and then press enter. Because your data is in L1, so you would just do second L1 and then press enter. So L1 will be sorted. You go back inside and you press enter to look at the data. Did you notice that 57 now is the first number in the list? So we can look at how many numbers are there from 55 to 64. There's only one, so you just don't have to tally, so you just say 1. And then the next is 65 to 74, so we can look at 65 to 74. This one is 1, 2, 3, only 3, so you say 3. 75 to 84 would be this one and this one, right? So only 2. And then we need to scroll down the screen a little bit. So the next one is 85. You need to be careful. You're just scrolling. So we want to make sure that we have all the data from 85 to 94. So this is still 94. So 85. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have 5 numbers here. And then 95 to 100, we only have the last one, which is 1. So see how you can do the frequency table a little faster after we sort the data. Then the second thing we want to do is if we have some data and I just want to do a histogram using the default class. I don't want to figure out what class width and what class size or what is the lower class limit. I just want a calculator to show me a histogram because all I want is to know the shape of the distribution of this data. I can actually use stat plot to do this. So first of all, we go to stat, edit, clear all our old data because we're done with it. So go to the top, clear, press enter, they're all gone. And I'm going to enter the new data. It's 65, 63, 70, 67, 62, 74, 57, 63, 67, 59. These are the height data that we collect in class. The first 20 height data. 71, 67, 63. We have 40 numbers, but we just do 20 in the beginning because it's just a lot of data. 62, 68, 64, 61, 61. So that's 20 data, and it's all entered in. So I don't know how they distribute. So what we do is we do second stat plot. Stat plot is blue, so we have to do second. And you would be in this screen, so you pick plot 1 because we're just plotting one histogram. So have plot 1 on, press enter. If plot 1 is not on, you cursor it to on and then press enter to turn it on. Then you go down to type. We want to do histogram, so we do cursor left, no, cursor right. When it is blinking in the histogram, you press enter. And then you make sure your X list is L1 frequency. You don't need to worry about it. And then we are ready to graph. But we would do, so we don't press graph. We press zoom 9. Zoom 9 is zoom statistics. So this is how our the first 20 height data distribute. So there seems to be a tail on the right side. So it's kind of skewed to the right, not exactly normal distributed. Okay, so you do second stat plot, press enter, make sure your type is this, and then to graph it, zoom 9. Now I understand that some calculator, when you do zoom 9, there are some issues. So if you have issues with doing zoom 9, you want to make sure that when you press zoom 9, you put your cursor back to the on key. If your cursor is here or in L1, sometimes there's something going on at the background and they're complaining. And if you have those situations, just exit out and then go back to stat plot and have your cursor here and then do zoom 9. It will take care of it. Okay, so let's do zoom 9 again. So this is the histogram. It shows the distribution of the data. Now you notice that these classes or these bars, they should have lower limit, upper limit, lower limit, upper limit. But it is hidden from us because the graphing calculator do not show numbers. So to have the graphing calculator tell us what limits they use, we press this key trace. And you notice that they automatically tell you the minimum. This number is 57, this is 60.4. This is blinking and is frequency. So that means in this class there is from 57 to 60.4. Yeah, there's 2 counts. And then if you cursor on 60.4 to 63.8, this frequency is 7. Press again, you will see all the classes, all the frequency show up here. So if you want to copy this into your homework or table or your worksheets, so that's what you want to do. You do a trace and then copy them one by one. Okay, so that's how you do histogram. The third thing I want to do is to graph scatter plot. So let's exit out first. We have this white blood cell count, red blood cell count. They are matched pair because they are from the same person. Each pair is from the same person, and we want a steady correlation. So what we'll do is we'll enter these 2 data into L1 and L2. So first of all, in L1, I go to the top, clear, press enter. And then I do press all the white blood cell count to L1, 5.9, 7.3, 6.2, 5.9. So that's the first set of white blood cell count data. And then I go to L2 and I press 4.9, 5.6, 4.4, 4.8, 5.2. So 5 sets of match pair data, and I'm ready to graph a scatter plot. So to graph anything is stat plot because it's statistics. So plot 1 is already on, so we press enter, and this time we're not doing histogram. We're just doing scatter plot, so which is type number 1. So you want to have your cursor, you know, be placed on that, the first type of graph, and you press enter to select it. You notice that X list is L1, Y list is L2, that's what we want. And then we're ready to graph. So again, if your calculator is a little, special that it's always complain when you graph, you want to have your cursor go back to on, and then you do zoom 9. So this would be the scatter plot. If you want to find out like what scale this is, like what number this is, again you do trace. They will tell you, oh, the one that's blinking, this one is 8.7, 4.9. You do left, you do go to the right, it would go to another data. So roughly you can tell what they are. If our concern is whether there is correlation, all you can do is to look at if they form a particular pattern. So in this particular case, because we only have 5 data, so it's not very clear as to if there is correlation. It seems like there is, but this one is like out of the place. So it seems like this group is following a straight line down, straight line, but this is kind of like an outliers. Okay, so basically that's how you do scatter plot. And that's the end of this video.